Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers, can you please fill the gaps? Come closer, brothers. Fill all the gaps. If you're sitting next to your best friend, then I strongly advise that you become strangers for the next half hour or so. Otherwise, I will be calling you out in the bayan. Then your ears will go red and you will look like a tomato, and then you will be really embarrassed, and then you will hate me. But the fault will be your own. If you've got your phones, brothers, put your phones away. Don't take your phone out, please. Otherwise, I'll call you out for that as well, brothers. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulihil Kareem. Every time I come to Masjid Ali, I feel like I've come to my local masjid. There's something about, alhamdulillah, the masjid and the community. And although I don't know many of you by name, but I feel like I know you, you know me. So alhamdulillah, it's an honor to be here and to be invited. Maulana used an adjective there. Maulana said, what do you say? He's a beautiful speaker. So you know that beautiful, that word, he was talking about the bayan. He wasn't talking about me. For those of you who are now disappointed that this guy, all that. So he was talking about the bayan. So let's hope this bayan is beautiful and is beneficial for me and for all of you. But that depends, brother, oh brothers. Don't do that. Split up, please, or move yourselves. I told you I'll do that, I'll call you out. I don't want to spend the whole bayan calling you out. Brothers, can you please join the gathering? Split up, stop talking. So, inshallah, the bayan will be beautiful if you brothers are attentive and you're focused and you're plugged in. The speaker does not speak of his own accord. The talk of deen only happens with the fazl of Allah. Allah makes the speaker speak if the audience is plugged in, is focused, is listening with their hearts. So this is a joint effort. If at the end of this bayan you think, man, that was a flat bayan, then don't blame me, blame yourselves. And if the bayan, by some miracle, is a good one, then don't praise me, praise yourselves. That's how it works in our deen. Because Allah wants from me and from you devotion. We become true lovers of Allah. We give ourselves to the deen of Allah. Right now, me, you, all of us, our affiliation, our connection, our relationship with deen, with Islam, is like our connection with our football team. When we were growing up, on the school toilet walls, in the exercise books, everywhere, you'd find LFC. Everyone was a Liverpool fan, right? No one was a Chelsea fan. No one was a Man U fan. Why? Because LFC were doing it. They were winning all the cups. So everyone's a LFC fan, everyone's a Liverpool fan. Then we went through a phase. Blackburn Rovers came into the money, and Blackburn Rovers was at the top. So many people all of a sudden. And then Manchester United, everyone's Manchester United. And then by some miracle, Manchester City. So inshallah, we have hope. Bolton Wanderers bhi aayega ek din, inshallah. Yes? That's how our affiliation is with deen. We're in and out, one foot in, one foot out. Not totally devoted to our deen. And what Allah wants from us is that we are totally devoted to His deen. One person said beautifully in Urdu, "Tu ek ke samne jhuk ja, wo har ek ko tere samne jhuka dega." Get into the practice of bowing down in front of one. Who? Allah. Get in the practice, get in the habit of bowing down in front of Allah every single day, 5 times a day or more. Devote yourself to Allah. If you surrender yourself to Allah and you bow down in front of Allah, then a time will come when Allah will make everyone bow down to you. Everyone will love you. Even your enemies will love you. And everyone will become subservient to you. Subservient means they'll follow you. So there are many examples. There was once a Sahabi by the name of Safina radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who used to serve Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One day he was going on a journey and they were in the sea and a storm came and they got shipwrecked. Safina radiallahu ta'ala anhu got washed up on the shore on a beach. And when he woke up, he was on a beach or in a jungle. He looked up and he saw a lion coming towards him. Now, if you and I were there, I don't think we'd talk to the lion. We'd just say, "Mummy," and run. That's the first thing. Safina radiallahu spoke to the lion. Right? Why? Because he had Allah in his heart. And he knew that I'm serving Allah. Allah's going to make everything serve me. I fear Allah, so everything will fear me. I'm obedient to Allah, everything will become obedient to me. So he actually spoke to the lion. Unbelievable. One person, he asked the Maulana a question. He said, "Maulana Sahib, if I'm praying namaz and a lion comes, should I finish my namaz or should I run?" What a stupid question. That's not going to happen, is it? What chances of that happening? In Ladybridge, you're praying namaz, lion comes. It's not going to happen. Hypothetical question. Maulana Sahib realized that this guy asking silly questions, so he thought he'd deal with him in that manner. Maulana Sahib said to him that, okay, the answer is, if you've still got wuzu, finish your namaz. Otherwise, chances are, if a lion comes, you're not going to have wuzu, are you? Anyway, so Safina radiallahu ta'ala anhu, look at this, man of Allah, a man of Allah. He speaks to the lion. And he doesn't beg the lion, "Please don't eat me." Amazing. He says, "Oh lion, I've been separated from my comrades. I've been shipwrecked. I'm out in the path of Allah. I'm a slave of Allah. Return me back to my colleagues." So there are two narrations. One is that the lion walked ahead of Safina radiallahu ta'ala anhu and became his guide, and Safina radiallahu followed him. And another narration is that he came and sat in front of him and he bowed down, telling Safina radiallahu ta'ala to climb on. And Safina radiallahu rode him like a person rides a horse, and he took him all the way back to his camp. And whenever a wild animal came, the lion would roar and turn towards the animal and chase it off. So not only did the lion guide Safina radiallahu ta'ala, but he also protected him. That is an example of a person of Allah. These are not fairy tales. If we pick up the books, that's a problem. That's another problem, isn't it? We don't read. You know, back in the days when they had like dictatorships, what they used to do is to stop people, stop a revolution, people rising up against us. What did they do? Tell me, brothers, what did they do? They burned the books, isn't it? Ban reading, or burn the books, or don't let people learn the language, which is why a lot of books were in Latin, so the people could never read and understand, and they depended on the governments or the priests or the clergy to impart the message to them. So one of the problems that we have today is that we don't read. The reason why I'm mentioning that is because, you know, Maulana Luqman Sahib, when he said to me that, okay, can you come? I said, okay, inshallah, I'll come down. So then he said, we'll make a poster. Have you got a title? I said. So then he came up with the title. So now I've got to mention the title. I've got to connect the bayan to the title somehow. Yes? So disconnect to connect. We've got to disconnect from the dunya, from social media and everything, in order to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of our problems is because of social media and all these distractions, we don't read anymore. So in the olden days, they used to burn books. Now all these books are coming out. So somebody said to a man in the government, he said, what are we going to do? All these books, all the truth is out there. How are we going to stop people you know, rising up against us, a revolution, if they know the facts. Are we going to ban the books? Are we going to burn the books? He said, no, we won't ban the books, we won't burn the books. We'll just make it so that people don't want to read anymore. And that's what it is now. Somebody said that never trust a person whose TV is bigger than his bookshelf. Allahu Akbar. Besides Maulana Sahib sitting here, most of us at home, our bookshelf will be very small. And we don't read. Or we have the books, but they're for decoration. They look nice. Somebody thinks, oh, mashallah, he reads a lot. You know, I met a person once, and he said to me, it was an alim, he said to me that he had read Al-Isaba, the ulama kiram sitting here will know, he said, I've read the whole of Al-Isaba in Arabic, which is like 20 volumes. And I was like, whoa, blown away by it. Now there's come a time where I can brag. When I say I've read Fazail Amal from cover to cover, that's a big deal now. People are like, whoa. I say, you know, Islahi Khutbat of Mufti Taqi Sahib, I've read the whole lot. People are like, whoa, that's nothing. But it's a big deal nowadays because we don't read. So anyway, there's 3 books that I will recommend to you if you're into reading and if you want to know what's going on and how dangerous it is with social media. And this is for the elders. There's 3 books that I recommend. Recently I read. One is called Boys Adrift by Dr. Leonard Sachs. And it's telling what social media and gaming is doing to our brains. Another book is called The Winter of Our Disconnect by Susan Moha or something. The Winter of Our Disconnect. What she did was, this is a non-Muslim woman, she got her family, her kids, and they just disconnected from the internet for a month or for a few months. Nothing. And then she wrote about the whole experiment. Anybody thinking of doing that, good luck to you in this day and age. And there have even been incidents where parents have tried to stop their kid, taken away the console from them or taken away their Wi-Fi, and the kid's gone and killed the parents. You hear stories like that. That's an addiction. And the third book is The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, Haidth. Book worth reading. That concentrates mostly on girls, how social media is affecting girls. Anyway, so that's how we need to disconnect, and we need to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Safina radiallahu ta'ala anhu, man of Allah, person of Allah, and there are many stories like this, but like I said, we don't read. If you look in the stories of Sahaba, you'll find many stories like this. They were people of Allah, so everyone obeyed them, everyone followed them. The lion took him back to his camp. The lion dropped him off. He went back. When he saw the tents, he went back. He turned around and the lion was still sitting there, waiting for his permission. So then he gave him permission, then the lion went off. That's a Sahabi. Then another person, a pious person, this is a non-Sahabi. His name was Ibrahim bin Adham, rahmatullahi. He was a king, very, very wealthy. But in his heart, he had a love for Allah. He wanted to connect with Allah. So he's trying and trying, but he realizes that in all this pomp and show, with all this wealth and luxury, I can't find Allah. My progression is limited. So one day, he packed his bag and he left his palace in the middle of the night without telling anyone. And he went and lived in the jungle, in the wilderness, just doing the ibadat of Allah. The people are looking for the king. Eventually they find him a few months later. They find him sitting on the edge of a river, and his emaciated, he's gone thin because now he's eating simple food, and his clothes are dirty, and he's sewing patches in his clothes. So the ministers, they come and they say, King, what have you done to yourself? Come on, man, you got to come back. That was a good life. He said, nah, this is a good life. He said, nah, you had all your bling and everything there. You had it all there. He said, no, I've got more here. He said, you've given up a kingdom. He said, in exchange, Allah Ta'ala has given me a better kingdom. So they're begging him, no, come on, please come back. How can you live here in the jungle? You got no roof over your head, you don't have food. And so they're begging him. So he said to them, so as I said, he was sewing. He took his needle and he threw it flicked it into the river. And he said to them, he said, okay, you know, if you guys are so loyal to me and willing to do anything for me, then give me back this needle. So they said, Your Royal Highness, there's limits to what we can do. We can't give you back that needle. They said, okay, now let me show you the kingdom that Allah Ta'ala has given me in exchange for the kingdom that I gave up. He made dua to Allah, Allah give me back my needle, and every fish that was in that lake came up with a gold needle in its mouth, all at once. And the ministers saw this. And Ibrahim bin Adham said, no, I don't want these needles, I want my needle. So all the fish went back, and then another fish came back with his needle. Then he took the needle, and he continued sowing. Then he turned to the ministers and he said, now you tell me which kingdom is better, the one that I gave up or the one that I've been blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with. So respected brothers and elders and my young friends, our mission in life is to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have everything now. You know, somebody said, in this country, about 100 years ago, no one knew what a hot shower is. No one knew what a hot shower was. 50 years ago, the majority of people had never witnessed an actual hot shower at home. Maybe in the swimming pools or somewhere when they went. Yes? Now, we have our rain shower heads. You go in there and your dad's banging on the door. My gas bill, get out! And the guy walks out like a boxer's entrance into the ring, you know, with the mist flying around as he walks out with his towel. Yes? We got underfloor heating, we got radiators, we got aircon, we got fans, we got masala dosas, we got pizzas, we got burgers, we got nihari, we got everything. Somebody said, if somebody, your life that you have now is somebody's prayer in the world. If somebody in the world, there are people in the world right now, if they had what you have, they would consider their prayers to have been answered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know that, don't you? There are people in the world who can't get food, Allah ta'ala help them. But we have everything. Right? We're rich like anything. We've got all the luxuries. And yet, brothers, these three books I referred to, especially the other two, The Boys Adrift and Anxious Generation, reading that and you look around, if you work in schools like I do, you know that the younger generation, especially, sad as anything. You get self-harming, you get suicides, you get people, a girl staying back after lesson, a boy staying back after lesson. I look up and they're still there and I say, oh, you can go. I say, no, I want to talk to you, sir. What do you want to talk to me about? Sir, I don't know, I just want to die. I want to end it. Man, you're in year 8. You're in year 9. You got your whole life ahead of you. I don't know, I'm just not happy. Why are we not happy? Why are we not content? Because that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have lost. And this is why, especially you younger brothers, this is a good, ideal opportunity. If we connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then our whole life will become rosy and fine. We will have a beautiful life, and we'll get the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and our life will be such that other people will envy us. And like the Sahaba Kiram, it said about the Sahaba Kiram that Jeete ji Jannat ka maza aa raha tha. They were alive on the earth, but they were experiencing the pleasures of Jannat. In the Battle of Uhud, the mountain of Uhud, if you look, if that wall there, let's pretend that wall was the mountain of Uhud. Those of us who have been, and Allah Ta'ala take us again and again, when you go there for ziyarat of mountain of Uhud, you see that you come up this way. Yeah, so this is Medina in this direction, and then you reach Uhud. Right? Now, we all know what happened in the campaign of Uhud. The Sahaba Kiram, the Muslims, got sandwiched between the non-Muslims, and then there was a massacre taking place. So, people, to save themselves, they were running in this direction, towards Medina. to save themselves. It's common sense. So they're all running that way because towards mountain of Uhud, the massacre was taking place. As they are running, Sa'd radiallahu anhu is also running in this direction towards Medina. As he's running, he sees another person coming in the opposite direction, running towards mountain of Uhud. And that person is Hazrat Anas bin Nadar radiallahu ta'ala. So now what does common sense say? Common sense says that Sa'd radiallahu should have said to Anas that, oh Anas, what are you doing? You're going the wrong way. There's a massacre taking place there. Yes? Instead, the opposite happens. Anas radiallahu ta'ala, who is running into the pitch of the battle, and Sa'd radiallahu who's running away, Anas radiallahu says to Sa'd, oh Sa'd, where are you going? Where are you going? Al-Jannatu ya Sa'du wa Rabbil Ka'bah. Inni ajidu rihaha min duni Uhadin. Oh Sa'd, you're going the wrong way. I swear by the Rabb of the Kaaba that I can smell the fragrance of Jannat coming from the mountain of Uhud. The opposite should have happened. Yes? Sa'd should have told Anas radiallahu anhu, let's go. Instead, Anas radiallahu anhu is telling him that, come this way, you're going the wrong way. And then Anas radiallahu anhu went, and he got martyred. What was he talking about? The smell of Jannat? He was still alive, but Allah Ta'ala was giving him the fragrance of Jannat, the enjoyment of Jannat. Why? Because he had connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So respected brothers and elders, the whole point of our coming together and these talks and everything is so that we become people of Allah. We bring Allah into our hearts. Now, going to madrasa or joining Hifz class or joining Alim class or learning Quran is all very necessary and very good and very commendable and very virtuous, is very good. Carry on. But that is not the only way to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Along with that, we will have to make an effort to bring Allah into our heart, to bring the love of Allah into our heart. Otherwise, a person can learn the Quran, become Hafiz of the Quran, but he still won't know who Allah is. And he still won't want to pray namaz. And he'll still won't want to pray Quran. There was once a mum and dad who were going out in Jamaat, and because of that, every day they used to sit their children down and they used to conduct the talim, which we should do in our homes, read the stories of Sahaba Kiram to our family members. Everyone should do that every day to inspire us. So one day, when the fathers finished reading, he turns to his kids. Now these kids are good kids. They're going to madrasa, they're in Hifz class, Alima class and so on. And the parents are making sure they're praying 5 times namaz every day. Because they tell them, chal, namaz time, pray namaz. So on this occasion, the dad says to his daughter, he says, oh, by the way, when are you going to become a Muslimah? She looks at him, Papa, what are you saying? So he says, no, tell me, when are you going to accept Islam? She says, Dad, what are you saying? So he turns to his son and he asks him, he said, Beta, when are you going to become a Muslim? He said, Dad, what are you talking about? I'm in Hifz class, I've done 26 paras. I'm a Muslim. No, when are you going to become? Like that, he asked all the kids, and they're all in shock. They said, Papa, what are you doing? So he said, let me tell you, the day you will become true Muslims, the day you pray your namaz without your mummy and papa telling you, is the day that you will have become a true Muslim. Why? Because you're not doing it out of fear for your mum and dad, and you're not sitting down to pray Quran for fear of your Mauli Sahib, for fear of getting your sabak wrong, but you're doing it for the sake of Allah. The day you sit down with the Quran without anyone telling you, the day you do zikr without anyone telling you, the day you pray namaz, the day you pray ishraq, you pray nafils without anyone telling you, will be the day that you become a true Muslim. Do you understand, brothers? You're not understanding me. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Besides Mauli Sahib, I don't think anyone's understood. Brothers, you get me, yeah? Start talking your lingo like yeah? Do you rolling like that, yeah? I don't know that lingo. Are you understanding me, brothers? Jazakallah. You picking up what I'm putting down? Yeah. Let me give you another example. Recognition of Allah. We have to recognize Allah. One person, he gets a job in a factory. Right? When he goes for the interview, his line manager interviews him. He gives him the job. Every day the line manager is there with his overalls, with his coat, and then he tells him what to do, where to go. And the person does it. Line manager says it, he's got to do it. And he makes sure whenever the line manager walks in, even if he's not working, he looks busy. Because he knows the line manager is giving me the job, he can sack me as well. One day, the owner of the company, he walks in to the factory. Now this factory manager doesn't know him. He doesn't know this guy's the owner. He's never met him. He puts on these white overalls and he walks onto the factory floor. He comes over to this guy who's sitting there doing nothing because the line manager's not there. And he says to him, he said, get to work. He said, do one. There's a rag on the floor. He said, pick that up. He goes, you pick it up. He said, do some work. He said, mind your own business. Act your wage. Act your wage. Yeah? He's doing dadagiri with the CEO, with the owner of the company. He's giving him lip. In the meantime, the line manager walks in and he sees this. He runs over to him and he whispers in his ear. He goes, listen, that's my boss, your boss. That's the owner of the company. When he hears that, immediately, he changes. Oh, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. And he starts working. Why did he at first give him lip? Because he didn't recognize him. Why is his whole attitude changed now? Because he suddenly recognized him. In the same way, respected brothers and elders, when we will recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we'll understand who Allah is, how great Allah is, how compassionate Allah is, how loving Allah is, how giving Allah is, how Allah Ta'ala has created us and given us everything, and Allah Ta'ala can grant us success, and Allah Ta'ala can solve all our problems, and nothing is too difficult for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we will recognize Allah, that Allah Ta'ala is seeing me at all times. There's that famous story we used to hear when we were small kids, very simple. There was a Mauli Sahib, and in a madrasa, he's teaching his kids, and there was one kid that the Mauli Sahib really liked, and everyone else hated him. Teacher's pet. Everyone else called him a nerd. Yeah? And they hated him. And in those days, the Mauli Sahibs used to teach outside their houses. So one day the Mauli Sahib says that tomorrow you've got an exam, so make sure you prepare and come on time. So all the kids, they go home and they revise. And all the other kids are thinking that today, in this exam, we're going to do even better, so we beat that teacher's pet and we become the favorite. So anyway, the next day they all come prepared with their pens and papers and everything. But instead, the Mauli Sahib, he gives each of them a chicken and a knife. And he says to them that, right, your task today is to go and to slay this chicken in a place where no one can see you. So they think that's dead easy. So they all go off. And after some time, they all come back with their chickens ready for the chicken burger. Right? Except that teacher's pet, he comes back with a live chicken. So the Mauli Sahib asked one kid, did you kill the chicken in a way that no one saw you? He said, yeah. He said, where did you do it? He said, I went to my house, I went into the cellar, I didn't even turn on the lights, and I did it there. I'm definitely sure no one saw me. He said, okay. Next guy, I went into the forest and like that. One guy under the blanket, I did it. Yeah? So, right, okay. Now he asked the teacher's pet, he said, why have you not cut your chicken? He said, because I couldn't find a place where no one was watching me. So all the other kids started laughing. I said, what do you mean? Didn't you go into the cellar? Didn't you go into up a tree? Didn't you go into the forest? He said, I went to all these places, but everywhere where I went, I found that someone was always watching me. He said, who's that? He said, Allah. So Mauli Sahib said, you've passed. And then he said to the kids, he said, this is why he's my favorite. We need to bring that yaqeen into our hearts that Allah Ta'ala is watching me at all times. Then if a person has that yaqeen, even if he's got his mobile phone, his parents are simpletons, and they said, oh, everyone in our house goes to sleep at 9 o'clock. That's what parents say, the simpletons. When you've confiscated a phone in school of a kid, because he's falling asleep in class and then he takes his phone out, you confiscate it and you go through his phone, 2 o'clock in the morning, watching the most despicable and vulgar things and messaging people. And then you call the parents in and you tell the parents, no, hamara chokro nahi hai. Hame to ghar mein badda hui jaye 9 baje. We all go to sleep at 9 o'clock. That's what you think. Do you turn off the Wi-Fi? No, Yes? But if a person has Allah in his heart, even if he's got his phone, if he's got his mobile, even if his parents haven't put any restrictions on, he'll still think that, no, this is haram, I'm not going to do this. Do you understand, brothers? Jazakallah. That's a bit better. That gives me a bit more confidence. There was once a guy, he was a burglar, right? And it was a family business. He'd been trained by his dad, who'd been trained by his dad, family of burglars. So they were minted, they were very well off and everything. Every night he'd go out and he'd work, do his night shift, come back with bags with his loot. So now his son is about 12 years old. He says to his son, that son, you know, we've got a family business. So his son goes, yeah, I know we've got a family business. I don't know what it is. I know you work night shifts. So his son didn't know that his dad's a chor, lucho. So he goes to him that, you know, my dad, he introduced me to the family business. He taught me all the tricks of the trade. So when I was about your age. So now your induction's coming up as well. Tuesday night, I'm going to take you out and I'm going to teach you how to do our business. Kid goes, okay. So for that, what you'll need a balaclava and black clothes. Have that ready and then make sure you get good sleep on Tuesday during the day. It's going to be a long night. Son says, okay. In the meantime, during the week, the God Squad turned up at the guy's house. You know the God Squad? You know the God Squad? You got it in your area as well. The Tablighi brothers, the God Squad, the people who are calling us towards Allah for the sake of Allah. They don't get paid. They only do it for the sake of Allah. So they came knocking and they talked to the kid and they said, you know, we're going out in the path of Allah, we'll bond with Allah, we'll get closer to Allah, we'll become better Muslims, we'll discover who Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is, we'll discover the beauty of our deen. So come with us. So he got ready. So on Friday, the God Squad took this kid in Jamaat. He went along and for the 2 days, all he heard, as we're supposed to when we're in Jamaat, if we don't take our phones with us, the only thing we hear and the only thing we speak about and the only thing we're exposed to is Allah, 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 Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Qabr, Akhirat, Jannah, Jahannam. Yeah? Everything above the heavens, everything below the earth, nothing in between. Just Allah, Allah, Allah. And if you stay in the environment for 2 days or 3 days and you just keep on hearing that and you don't go on your phone, this boosts your iman. Just as we come for a bayan, we listen to a half-hour bayan, if we listen attentively, it boosts our iman. So imagine if you're doing that for 2-3 days, or for 40 days, or for 4 months, how potent a person's iman gets. So for 2 days, he's just hearing this, Allah is all seeing, Allah is all hearing, Allah is all knowing, Allah is all wise, Allah is the greatest. He hears this again and again and again and again. And because he's a young kid, he's a simpleton, he's got a clean heart, it embeds into his heart, it comes into his heart. Anyway, he comes back from Jamaat on Sunday night. Tuesday, Monday, his dad tells him, do you remember, you got your induction coming up? Yeah, Dad, don't worry, I've got it all prepared. Tuesday, he reminds him again, he said, yeah, Dad, I've got the black clothes and everything, I've got my joggers and everything. It's okay. Tuesday night, he comes knocking on his door, on his bedroom door. He said, Chal beta. So the son comes out, dressed in all black. Dad goes, you're a natural. Yeah, Chal. So he takes him. So they drive from Double to Lady Bridge. And they drive to the posh area. Right? And they park up. And now brothers are smiling. Yeah, now you start smiling. Up to now everyone's like, oh. So, parks up and then they walk. They're looking, they're scouting out for a big house. And then the dad, he targets one house, he decides this is the house we're going to rob. So he says to his son, he said, right, listen, lesson number 1, awwal sabak, first sabak, how to keep a lookout. That's what my dad taught me. That's what you're going to do. You're going to hide in the bushes here. You see that big house there? That one, Dad, that big one with big gates. He said, yeah, I'm going to go in there. I said, why? He said, I'll tell you later. He said, what I want you to do, your job is you stay here and you keep a lookout. You stay very alert. And if you see anyone coming, anyone's watching, Then you got to tell me. He said, oh, that's dead easy. He said, but hang on, you can't say dad, dad, you can't shout dad, dad at 2 o'clock in the morning. Right? What you have to do is you have to tell me in another way. He said, how's that? He said, look, I'll show you the way my dad taught me. He said, you have to hoot like an owl, like this. And the dad goes, whoo, whoo. So my dad taught me that. He goes, hey, dad, that's good. He goes, you try it. So he goes, whoo, whoo. He goes, good, good. Try it again. Whoo, whoo. He said, oh, you're a natural. So what you got to do is if you see anyone coming, anyone watching, you got to hoot. He said, Dad, I can do this. So the dad, he goes, and he takes his case out, the lock pick thing, and he picks the lock, click, and he turns the handle, and he opens the door. Next thing, whoo, whoo. So the guy closes the door, runs, jumps into the bushes. Son, Jazakallah, Jazakallah. It's good. Somebody here? He said, yeah. He said, okay, okay. Catches his breath, he looks around, nobody there. He goes, right, son, again. Yeah, remember. He said, don't worry. Goes again, opens the door, walks down the passage, yeah, gets into a bedroom, opens the door, legs it, shuts it, legs it, jumps, yeah, and the son is like, and the father's like, somebody watch it? He said, somebody here? He said, yeah. So, whoa, son, you saved me. He looks around, but he doesn't see anyone again. He goes, okay. After a while, he said, right, I'm going to go again, remember, don't fall asleep. He said, Dad, I've got this, man, I'm on this, don't worry about it, I'm natural. Goes again, opens the drawer, takes the jewelry out, about to bag it, throws it back in, legs it, jumps into the bushes again, having a panic attack. He goes, son, somebody here? Yeah. Somebody watching? He said, yeah. He said, I didn't see anyone the first 2 times. Can't see anyone now. Are you sure someone is here? He said, yeah, Dad, there was. Somebody was watching. He said, who? He said, Allah. Allah was watching. The dad goes, give me a balaclava, go home. Taru kam nati. You can never be a burglar, because Allah has come into your heart. That's a very simple example of what we need to become. You understand, brothers? We've got to bring Allah into our hearts so that Allah, that love of Allah, that recognition of Allah will encourage us to do good and will stop us from doing bad. That was one of our Mawli Sahibs were telling us, a little kid was going to madrasa. Yes? He had his jubba on, his topi on. He had his Quran and his kitabs. 4 boys stopped him near the masjid. Who were the boys? Tom, Dick and Harry, non-Muslims, Muslim lads. They stopped this kid and they asked him if he wanted to buy some stuff. You know the names better than me. Some ganzo, yeah, some skunk. They asked him if he, and he was like, no. And he was like a year 7, year 8 kid. Yes? And he went and told his Mawli Sahib. And the Mawli Sahib said that those scoundrels, not only are they targeting, grooming this young kid, but they didn't even have the fear of Allah, that this kid is going to the house of Allah. He's got Quran in his hand. How dare we approach him? That's how much their iman had died. That kid, alhamdulillah, he had that much iman in his heart to know that it's wrong. But the worry is that as he gets older, when the peer pressure builds up, like somebody said, peer pressure leads to beer pressure. To impress his friends go on, go on, go on, go on. When's his iman going to give in? Or is his iman going to be so strong that it's going to save him no matter what? Like the boy, he was studying, I'll finish with this story, thereabouts. There was a boy who was studying in a Darulum. And he made so much effort, he'd got Allah in his heart. But he was a very poor boy, and he couldn't afford to stay in the boarding, in the lodgings. So there was a masjid close by. So he asked the masjid people if he could stay the night in their masjid. So they agreed. So every day after madrasa, he would come and sit in the local masjid, and at night time he'd light his own candle, and then he'd study late into the night, and then he'd fall asleep in the masjid. And next morning he'd go to Darulum again. So he'd been doing this for a long time. One night there was some trouble, unrest outside, some rioting. So the police issued a curfew, lockdown. There was a young Muslim girl, she was going somewhere, and she got caught up in all this trouble. So she couldn't make her way home. So she was scared. She found this masjid. So she came into the masjid. Masjid was open, she came into the masjid. And that boy was sitting there studying. He saw, it's the middle of it's late into the night, and a girl's come. So he went there, he went to her. At a distance he stood, and he looked down and he said, "Sister, listen, you've got to leave here. You've got to go away from here. You can't stay here. You can't come in here. We're alone." And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when a man and a woman, boy and girl are alone, the third one there is shaitan. He'll make them do things. So he said, "You have to go from here." So she started crying and she said that, "Listen, I can't go. It's dangerous. People are getting killed. I can't make my way home. My life is in danger. So I'm going to have to stay here." So he said to her, he realized that he had no choice. He said, "Okay, you stay in this part of the masjid, this furthest corner." And he went into the other furthest corner. And he said to her, he said, "Don't talk to me." He gave her a blanket. He said, "Just go to sleep here, but don't talk to me. Don't come near me." And then he went and he opened his kitabs and he continued reading. Then around Fajr time, he went to her and then he said, "Sister, now you can go." So she said, "I'm not going anywhere." He said, "Listen, please, you need to go. The people of the masjid are going to come and we're going to be in trouble. There's going to be accusations and stuff." She said, "I'm not going anywhere." He said, "Please." She said, "You have to tell me one thing, then I'll go." He said, "What's that?" She said, "I couldn't sleep. I lay down to sleep. I couldn't sleep. I was watching you and I saw that you were reading, but every now and then you kept putting your finger into the flame of the candle and holding it there and then taking it out, and then you'd carry on reading, and then after some time you'd do it again. What was all that about?" He said, "Listen, sister, that doesn't concern you. Please just go." She said, "No, you're going to have to answer me. Your finger's all burnt. Why did you do that?" He said, "Because when I was studying, shaitan kept coming to me and whispering that, 'Look, you've got an opportunity. Girls here, no one around to see. Yeah, who's going to know? Take advantage.'" He said, when that whispering of shaitan, the waswasa kept on coming, I said to myself that, "Listen, I might do this, I might get away with it in the dunya, but I'll have to burn in Jahannam. I'll have to go to the hellfire because of this." And even then my nafs, because nafs is evil from inside, the desire kept on going, "No, go on, just do it, just go talk to her at least." So he said then, to convince myself, I would say to myself, I'd put my finger in the fire and I'd pull it out and I'd say to myself, I'd say to my nafs that you can't tolerate the fire of the dunya. How will you be able to tolerate the fire of Jahannam, which is 70 times hotter than the fire of this world? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if a person were to be thrown into the fire of Jahannam and he's burning there, then you took him out and you put him into the fire of this world, he would chill out and fall asleep because it's 70 times cooler. So he said that I was telling myself that how can you, if you can't tolerate this, how are you going to tolerate the fire of Jahannam? So the girl was really shocked. She said, "Jazakallah for the answer," and she went off. A few weeks later, her parents decided that she needs to get married. So they were from a rich family. So they found her another rich boy and they said, "We propose that you get married to him." She said, "No, I'm not going to marry him. I'm only going to marry this one boy." They said, how do you know this boy?" She said, "I don't know his name. All I know is that he studies in the Darulum. So how can I find him amongst these hundreds of students?" She said, "Dad, you go and line up all the kids and you'll find him. He's got a burnt finger." And that's how the dad went and found him. And he asked the daughter, how do you know him? So she told him the whole story. "Why do you want to get married to him? He's a poor boy. He's got nothing. He's got nothing, but he's got the fear of Allah in his heart. And a person who has the fear of Allah in his heart, he'll never hurt my feelings. He'll never be bad towards me. He'll never be cruel towards me. I want to marry him." So because of his taqwa, he got married to a nice, beautiful, rich girl. That's not to say you go home and start sticking your finger in a candle hoping to get married to a babe. But the moral of the story is, fear of Allah, that's what he did. We have to try to bring the recognition of Allah into our hearts in that way, brothers. And to do that, this is why we go out in the path of Allah. In the path of Allah, there aren't candles, we don't burn ourselves, we don't whip ourselves. But what we do is we talk like this: Allah, Allah, Allah. Allah is seeing, Allah is knowing, Allah. We all have to die, we have to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to give an account for our lives. A husband is abusing his wife, he thinks he's getting away with it. Why? Because her parents are in India, Pakistan, nobody knows. She's got no relatives to stick up for her. I can treat her as I want. You can treat her as you want, brother, in this dunya. But you are going to die, and there is a reckoning, and there is qiyamah. One person's borrowed 20 grand off another person, qarz hasana. Every time the person comes to collect it, he says, inshallah, next week. It's been 10 years. Every time he comes now, he just laughs it off. That's why they call it qarz hasana, somebody said. Qarz hasana. Laughs it off. Yeah? Brother, you think you got away with it? You haven't got away with it, because you are going to die. There is a reckoning. Yes? You hear the craziest of stories now. One guy in England, he sent money to his own blood brother. His own brother, he sent him money to build a house for him, right next to his brother's house in his village. Sent money from here, worked hard, sent money, and he's calling him up. He said, I want it like this, I want a swimming pool, I want marble, I want this and that. And the brother go, yeah, okay, pay hamuklo, and he's sending money. Built the house. When the house was ready, he asked his brother, he said, is he ready? He said, yeah. So he took his wife. Now this is a family home made in India or Pakistan. Yes? And they thought, now we don't have to go and live out our brothers, we're not a burden on them. We'll go and live in our own house. It's been, so many years of effort, so much money, so much sacrifice. Now our house is ready. So he goes, from the airport, he goes to his brother's house, and he says, Assalamu alaikum. He's dead excited. He said, can you give me the key? He said, key for what? He said, key to the house. He said, which house? He said, that house. He said, yeah, what about it? He said, give me the key, please. He said, to what? He said, my house. He said, it's not your house, it's my house. He said, no, I sent the money, it's my house. He said, prove it. Because the guy was indigenous to that country, he'd gone and made the papers in his own name, land registry and everything. He goes, do one, it's my house. He chucked his own brother out, robbed him of his house. The guy had to go and live in a hotel, and they came back after a few days. That's just the tip of the iceberg. You hear crazy stories. Why does that happen? Because people have lost the fear of Allah, fear of accountability. When we will go out in the path of Allah and we will talk about Qabr, Akhirat, Day of Judgment, we realize that no, I can't rob anyone, I can't defraud anyone, I can't mistreat anyone, I can't bully anyone. School kids, you can't bully people. You can't call somebody fat and call him names and nerd and everything, hope to get away with it. Pick on him because everyone picks on him. Well, why don't you go and pick on the hard guys? Yeah, you softy, why are you picking on the easy targets? Yes? You're doing stuff like that, what goes round comes round. You don't get away with it. There is an Allah, there is accountability, there is a Day of Judgment. You are nice to your parents, you're obedient to your parents, you obey your parents, your kids will do the same to you. You mistreat your parents, Allah Ta'ala will take you to task. If this yaqeen, brothers, comes into our hearts of the fear of the accountability, Day of Judgment, and the fear of Allah, then we will all become good behaved, best behaved people. And the world will become a place of harmony and peace. You won't need CCTV cameras everywhere. You won't need police everywhere. You won't need prisons. Why? Because people will fear Allah. This is how it was in the time of Sahaba Kiram, in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. People feared Allah. People knew that I have to die and I have to face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This life is short. I'm going to die. I'm going to leave it all behind. But if I've wronged someone, then I will be taken to task. I will destroy my akhirat. To build that yaqeen in our hearts, brothers, to bring Allah into our hearts, we have to go out in the path of Allah. Otherwise, a person can become a hafiz, a person can become a namazi, a person might become a person of knowledge, but if he hasn't got Allah in his heart, he will still do wrong things. To build that yaqeen, we have to go out in the path of Allah and to isolate ourselves in that environment for 10 days, 40 days, to listen to these talks over and over again. I've been speaking for about an hour or so, less than an hour. Every person here will say, Alhamdulillah, my iman has risen. Why? Because you're all a mu'min. And we've been talking about Qabr and Akhirat, Jannat, Jahannam, Allah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So imagine if we went for a longer period and we secluded ourselves for a longer period, and we sat in 2 hours of ta'aleem every day, and we sat in the muzakara and the talks, and we not only heard it, but we said it again and again and again, then how much Allah will come into our hearts, then it will become easy for us to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we were growing up, there was a boy, a friend of ours who doesn't live in Bolton anymore. He used to live in West Horton. He started going out in the path of Allah. He was 15 years old. The closest masjid to his house was Ar-Rahman Masjid, 1.5 miles away. In the summer months, when Fajr was at 4:15, he used to come on his bike from West Horton to pray Fajr namaz. What is that? That's Iman. Did a Mauli Sahib force him to do it? Did his parents force him to do it? No, his Iman forced him to do it. And so you brothers have a lot of potential. You could be that superstar, providing we bring Allah into our hearts. So for that, brothers, make intentions to go out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to build our Iman. Give your intentions, inshallah. Jazakallah. You've been a very good audience. Alhamdulillah. Now, brothers, you've given me your attention. Now give me your intentions, inshallah.